So in the west part of Great Britain, we find the Boothwell Service Park, Cardiff, some 240 k's away from London. 4 days of gravel stages, a little bit of tarmac in there as well. And most importantly, it is going to be hugely supported by the British rally fans. Never is in this rally. That's the situation. 8 points between Loeb and Kievan at the top. Ogier looking safe in third. Latvala again safe in fourth. But Mads Osberg and Danny Sordo, and in fact Matt Wilson, could easily change positions. Citroën Total are champions yet again in the manufacturer's title. Abu Dhabi Ford safe in second and looking safe in third, M Sport Stobart Ford. So the rally starts on a Thursday afternoon and will give us 3 stages, just 26 k's. The first one being the Great Orme stage, not run since 1981. There it is, 4.74 km, but very, very tricky. Starting dry and getting damper as the afternoon progressed. And of course, it is Sebastian Loeb, the first man into the stage. What will the Frenchman's approach be? We've heard from both him and Hjeveren saying how they're just going to have to push more, perhaps. Hjeveren, look how difficult it is with the curbing on the right and the rock face on the left.
Et droite 130 bon, Milon pas corde, sur gauche à fond, 80 mètres, et gauche 140 moins long, 130 mètres, droite 140 plus Milon pas corde.
What's the added challenge of being on gravel tyres through this tricky section? As you can see, a mixture of sunshine and some greyer parts. I don't think Loeb will have made any Welsh fans saying it never stops raining in Wales. It's impressive in the latter part of Spain on tarmac. Hjeveren, what will he have learnt through here? Well, he comes through 0.4 of a second slower than Sebastian Loeb. And for Ogier, it's been 5 rally wins in an incredible season, right in the championship fight. And then drama last time out, an engine failure in Spain really completely sealing his fate. He's had 3 retirements in 3 rallies here in Great Britain. There! He clatters into the rock face on the opening stage of the rally. It looks like Sebastian Ogier's rally could be over. Frustration and disappointment for Ogier. Solberg went out on stage 1 in in Spain last time out. Oh, Pata clatters into the curb. Surely he's got to have picked up some sort of damage here. Still comes through with what was to be the 4th fastest time. At the moment, Loeb 0.4 quicker than Hjeveren at the top of the pile. Jari-Matti Latvala was so impressive last time out in Spain, really awesome in terms of his pace on tarmac. Wonderfully precise and committed through both the 2 stages of the start of the day. And he wins the opening stage, leads the rally after the first stage, and then on the second stage comes through second fastest, so 0.9 behind on that stage. And then they take themselves off into the forest for the first of many times. Clogénog, 15.77k going into the late afternoon. Darkness starting to come down. This was to cause some controversy between the runners coming through behind the first few. 9:16.4 for Sebastian Loeb at the end of stage 3. What can Mikko Kievonen do about it? Well, 3 seconds behind Loeb in second place at the end of stage 2. Last used in 96 this stage, and Kievonen wins it. Gets to within 0.7 of a second of Sebastian Loeb at the end of the opening day. See how the gloom is starting to really come down now for Latvala. Of course, now be third on the road after Ogier's retirement. This is 5.2. End of the day, Jari-Matti Latvala 3.1 seconds off the lead. Petter managed to get away with that contact on stage 1 relatively lightly. The car understeering a lot, he was to say afterwards. Fourth on stage 1, third on the second pass through Great Orme. And then came through at the end of stage 3 at Clogénog. The fourth fastest time, 8.8 seconds away from Latvala. Now as we go down the order, you can see how quickly darkness has fallen upon the stages, and now for Sordo, Meek and the rest of the runners coming through, a real challenge. This Meek was one of those really not happy about this, but ends up quicker than his teammate. And at the end of the day, some 6.8 behind Petter Solberg. And look at the problems that Matthew Wilson had. The light pod falling away, and at one point starting to beam into his eyes, causing all sorts of issues. Was to lose some 20 seconds on that stage 3 and end up the day in 9th position. 36.5 off the lead, but the fight between Loeb and Kievonen well and truly on at the front, just 0.7 of a second between them. Latvala very much in with a fight, and as you said, heading out from service at 5:30 on a fairly chilly November morning.
50 mètres, gauche 90 moins long.
Into the Clogénog stage goes Sebastian Loeb, 20.44 Ks. This is arguably the fastest stage of the rally. Over 200 Ks in places. As often is the case, Loeb seems to have woken up in a very strong frame of mind. It is pushing hard. He's already setting some magnificent split times as the balance of the crew start to come through. 11:18.9 was the time that Loeb was to set at the end of stage 4. And just 0.7 seconds behind is Mikko Kievonen going into this stage. This is 3.1 though. Loeb looking very strong for a stage win. Well, Solberg has consolidated a position where he could still be challenging hard for a podium. What an off there, Petter though. To say afterwards, cost him in the region of 6 seconds. 12.7 seconds off of Jari-Matti Latvala. Loeb, as you can see, leads Hieverden by 3.8 already. The crowds are gathering to watch this action.
Score de légère, 100 mètres, gauche 140 long, 150 mètres, attention, gauche ferme 140 moins.
With stages 5 and 6, the Duffy stages split in half effectively at 0.3 and 6.72, 5 and 6. And Loeb came through with the second fastest time on both stages. Mikko Hieverden, meanwhile, comes through and wins stage 5 by 2.5 seconds on that 10.3k stage. An awesome performance. And then goes on to win stage 6 by 1.7 seconds. So now Mikko Hieverden leads Wales Rally GB by 0.4 of a second. What of Hieverden's teammate? Runner up here in 2007. Sorry, 2008. Hieverden winning it in 2007. Some observers have said Latvala could have won 5 or 6 rallies this year, but for a few mistakes, a bit of bad luck. Of course, team orders in Australia. Third fastest on stages 4, 5 and 6. 10 seconds away from second place, Sebastian Loeb at the end of stage 6. A young man looking for a battle for the podium positions here. Mads Osberg did exactly that, of course, on the opening rally in Sweden. Can he do the same in the final rally? Again, has won the Norwegian Championship and is very strong in both France and Spain. 4 fastest times on the opening 2 stages of the day. Moves ahead of first Sordo, then Meek, and now just 9.9 seconds away from Petter Solberg. Great performance by Osberg. Danny Sordo, meanwhile, has not really looked comfortable. He's been looking a little bit messy in places, but is trying to push hard. Not been able to keep in contact with his teammate. This is stage 5. That is just how difficult it is to read the grip levels here in Wales. A grimace from Sordo as he goes in. And the end of the rally for the Pro Drive entered car. Great frustration for Dave Richards and the boys. So for many drivers, it's been a challenge. And on stage 6 for Czech driver Martin Prokop, the former JWRC champion. His rally is over. His first in an AWRC Fiesta ends prematurely. Frustration for the Czech. Hieverden, though, the new rally leader by 0.4 of a second ahead of Loeb, with Latvala a further 10 seconds behind Petter Solberg, now fighting off Mads Osberg, his younger countryman. Meek looking very strong to fight with Osberg as well. Into stage 7, a different stage, the longest stage of the Friday. You can see what the conditions are throwing up for the top runners.
À la banderole, droite 120 moins long. 180 mètres à la banderole, droite 120 moins long.
Loeb seems to be pushing very, very hard on here. The split's looking very strong for the world champion. And determined to try and clinch it again here in Wales. Hieverden knows he needs to respond with so little in it, just having taken the lead. See Fogg adding an extra dimension. Both he and Solberg mentioned this could be a challenge for them all. Well, enough for Mikko. Mikko Hieverden puts the car off the road on stage 7. Surely that's going to hand the lead back to Sebastian Loeb, who's been absolutely flying. Quite remarkable developments for Mikko Hieverden. And it was to be a hold radiator that the drama, where the steam's coming from, of course, pretty self-explanatory. And that looks to be like the end of the rally for Mikko Kievonen. And if with that, surely that's the end of his title hopes. Chris Meek now the main hope for the guys at Pro Drive.
And the middle over crest, ET, 6 left, minus 7, top big stop, 50 right over crest, 20 turn, 2 left, Austin. And 5 right, Austin, 150.
Well off for the Irishman as well.
5 right, 150. Right, and the crest, and 6 left, big stop, 50 turn.
This is relief on Meek's face there.
1 right into 6 left, 60 big stop. Just turn sudden, very slow 3 left minus 100. And type 5 plus.
So looking like there's some dramas for the Mini crew. Comes a very unhealthy sounding forward to the end of the stage. Well, that pretty much says it all. You could hear the sound of the engine absolutely ruined. Sebastian Loeb went on to win stage 7, and of course now everybody else moves up. Latvala into second and Osberg ahead of Solberg. So the second passes through Duffy West and East, the 10.3 and 6.7k stages respectively. Interesting to see how much these stages have cut up. And for Loeb, interesting immediately to see his approach. More and more likely that there's absolutely no coming back for Mikko Kievonen. So, as Loeb said, the championship looks to be sealed. And that was reflected, I guess, in the stage times. 5.4 seconds away from the fastest time on stage 8. And then on the short 6.72k stage, just 5th fastest, 2.7 off. That is a cruising Sebastian Loeb, surely. The opposite is true of Jari-Matti Latvala. Absolutely loves rallying in Great Britain, of course. Cut his teeth in the British Rally Championship. Been on the podium here before. Has been in a position to win before. And showed that by pushing to his absolute limit. The 17.7 behind Loeb coming into stage 8. Went on to win the stage. So another Ford driver going extremely well is Mats Osberg, the 23-year-old Norwegian, moving into a podium position after a string of good times early on in the day, moving ahead of Mikael Sordo and then ahead of Solberg, but knows he's got a fight on his hands. Stage 8 drops 0.4 of a second to Petter Solberg. Between the two Norwegians, the gap 13.4. In a matter of recovering and pushing as hard as he can in the afternoon loop for Petter Solberg. Fastest on stage 8, and then it was to go through. Also 4th fastest on stage 9. On stage 7. 7th fastest on 8. And then 6th fastest on stage 9. Now 5th overall. 31.1 behind his brother. So we mentioned Marco Martin, who has been managing this young man, looking very strong for possibly taking the S2000 championship this year. And unique in that he's made his debut in a Fiesta WRC car, but with the DMAC tyres on it. So interesting to see how they are performing very well at the moment. Tanak now 6th position, and a recovering Chris Meek after it was an alternator belt came off the water pump on stage 7, which really hampered his times and dropped him down out of the order. But on stage 9, after being second fastest on stage 8, Chris Meek comes through and wins the stage, wins his first gravel stage and the first gravel stage for Mini. Now fighting to get himself back into points, but Loeb leads Latvala by just 10.6, with Osberg and Solberg in a hard fight, with Henning 144 off the lead. Then Tanak, a tremendous performance so far by that young man, surely the star of the future. So the second pass through the Gartheniog stage for Jari-Matti Latvala in his charge to possibly try to challenge Sebastian Loeb for victory. Now Loeb seems to be in cruising mode, but surely he will want to make sure that he can finish the year on a high. Matti comes through and wins the stage. 1 second quicker than Petter Solberg, and then 2 seconds quicker exactly than Loeb. The gap now 8.6 at the end of stage 10. At the end of stage 10, Loeb leads Latvala by 8.6 seconds. The Finn on a big charge as they go into the Duffland stage, the longest stage of the day. Going into darkness, 21.34 Ks of action. Loeb knows that he's looking likely to have won the battle, even though the war is well and truly yet to be concluded.
Et attention que 140 moins long ouvre et ferme 144 et 3, ferme 130 plus secours. Et gauche 130 plus secours, 200 mètres.
All evocative of the Rally GBs of the past, when it was the RAC, when it was known as the Lombard or Network Q, call it what you will. Always there was a Finn in a Ford somewhere charging hard, often with lights on. It's by some 7 seconds, goes through to win the stage and close the rally leader down to just 1.1 seconds between Loeb and Latvala. Mads Osberg knows he is under massive pressure from the 2003 world champion, his countryman Petter Solberg. 13.03.4 from Mads Osberg. We'll watch with interest to see what Petter can do. It was an awesome time by Jari-Matti Latvala, 7.5 seconds quicker than Loeb. With a 13.03.1, closes the gap down to 7.8 between Osberg and Petter Solberg. For Henning, it's been a solid day's driving. Would be superb to see him finish the year with a strong result after a very, very trying year at times. He comes through and ends that day 5th fastest, 5th overall rather, just ahead of Oyt Tanak with the unusual D-Mac tyres there. Kimi Räikkönen driving well in 7th position, and Meek now on the tail of Räikkönen, surely in a position to close both him and Tanak down. The Hafren stage. And that's where the action started after a very early start, leaving service. And this was the first massive development. Petter Solberg's car developed a fuel leak which caused a fire, and the 2003 world champion was forced to retire his Petter Solberg World Rally Team car, and that was the end of his participation. Of course, Solberg was the last man before Sebastian Loeb to be world champion. Much longer as the French were going to hold on to this crowd, and certainly, judging by the level of commitment on the opening stage, this 32.1k stage, there's no doubt he was starting a day with plenty of fire. But it was apparent as Jari-Matti Latvala came into the stage, the Latvala was on an absolute mission. That charge at the end of the Friday's stages sure that Jari-Matti Latvala had got to within 1.1 seconds of Sebastian Loeb. Woke up bright and breezy on Saturday morning, complained of a headache on the day one, and his physio managed to work on some trapped nerves in his neck, and that certainly seems to have worked for him. Difference being some 5.8 seconds Loeb took out of Latvala. The gap now 6.9 at the top of the leaderboard. Mads Osberg, meanwhile, As he pressed throughout the day on day 2, the Friday, put himself up into third, and now a clear third, of course, with the retirement of Petter Solberg. Well, Henning was 6th last year and 5th the year before. Co-driver Ilkka Maino was 2nd on this rally in 2006 when co-driving Manfred Stoll. Of course, very proud to win the Michael Park Award on the Chinese D-Mac tyres. It's the distinctive livery on the Fiesta. Of course, mentored by Marco Martin, World Championship Rally winner himself. 21.5 behind Henning Solberg at this stage. Well, for the 2009 WRC champion Chris Meek, relishing rallying on home soil, Rally GB, and of course for his team. Alternator problems early on day 2, but incredible performance on stage 8 to be second fastest, and then even better still, fastest on stage 9. Well, problems for Kimi Räikkönen, finished in the points here last year. It was only a second off of Tanak. This spin into a ditch cost him a significant amount of time, and ultimately was to cause the 2007 F1 World Champions retirement. Frustrating end to the season for the Iceman. After a solid performance, he worked himself into the points on stage 7. So it looks like this. Loebly's lap by 6.9. Osberg now a solid third after Petter Solberg's retirement. Everybody else moves up, of course. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens in 2012 and 13. But for 2011, we still have Sweetlem and we also have the stages to finish off the afternoon. Sweetlem and Meherin after Hafren. Very short Sweetlem stage with water splashes, 4.01. You can see the wind farms in the distance. Tell you this is action from stage 14. Meherin sweeping up and downhill. And Verloop on stage 13. 15.44.6 Verloop at Meherin, stage 14. So here is the man on a mission. He wins stage 13 after making a small mistake on stage 12 to show that the rhythm is back in Jari-Matti Latvala. 26-year-old Finn pushing like crazy. Split times at the midway point, swinging between the leaders. Down by almost 2 seconds at the second split. Got that back to just 1 second at the penultimate split, and it's pretty stabilised. It's going to be a very close run to the end of the stage. Comes through. Second fastest to Loeb on stage 14 by 0.7. The gap now 7.3. Osberg has been mighty throughout. Really the best of the privateers by a long way. Well, fourth at the moment, on for his best finish of the season for Henning Solberg. Eighth fastest on stage 13. Consistently on or around that pace. His best has been a fourth fastest on day 2 in terms of stage times. 1 minute 10 ahead of his next rival. Wonderful shot of the commitment of 22-year-old Oitana.
41 5 pluss ülipikk lõpp lahti, 70.
Right, late in the stage there, what happened? You were stopped for a couple of minutes?
Yeah, I was just doing some corrections in bass notes and I missed one tightening thing, and I cut it next corner a bit too much and we blocked the radiator, so we were like cleaning it, so it took some time.
Well, the Mini perhaps not sounding as crisp as it has done earlier in the weekend, and it turned out that there had been some problems during the morning with a broken engine mounting on Chris Meek's car. Impressive performance in the circumstances for Chris Meek. Matthew Wilson, meanwhile, hit a rock early in the morning. Had that light problem, visibility issues on the opening day, on the Thursday evening on the Kleinhog stake. With the problems that Meek's been having and the off that Oitanak had, it's moving Matthew Wilson up the order in terms of split time so far, looking very good for moving up the order.
Right 4 plus in of a jump, and right 6 of a jump, 30.
Was to come through his 7th fastest time on the stage, but now moves up ahead of Meek and Tanak into 5th position, 1 minute 10 away from Henning Solberg. Dutchman Dennis Kuipers in a patriotically liveried orange Fiesta, still going well into the points on stage 5, and as you can see, still there now in 7th position. Welcome back to Motors TV's coverage of Wales Rally GB. And after stage 14, Sebastian Loeb has extended his lead to 7.3 seconds. So they go through the second pass through the Hafland stage, the longest stage of the rally.
Et double attention, droite 120 Bormillon, 80 mètres, change revêt de glisse, gauche 120 Bormillon.
That is nowhere near as quick, 19:20.2 for Sebastian Loeb. Does Jari-Matti Latvala do in terms of his times?
Good.
Beautiful technique for Latvala there.
Jatkuu nyt keskeltä. 5 good. Paro nyppoi G7, hämää ahdas.
Backs it up, Latvala comes through and wins the stage and takes the lead of the rally. He wins it by 8.6 seconds, now leads by 1.3. It's apparent that Mats Osberg had an engine issue, intermittent misfire. The crew had told him to keep it at high revs and just to try to maintain momentum. Loses 25 seconds to Henning Solberg. Osberg was still 5th fastest.
Left short 6 left minus. Cut right over 100, short 5 left. 8.
Henning comes through with another solid time. 9th, 55 seconds ahead of this man, Chris Meek. Hopeful that the turbo issue and the engine mount problem has been resolved at Bilthwell service. It's faster than Matthew Wilson to move up into 5th position on stage 15. After that horrific accident in 2005 in Wales for both of these crew members, for Wilson and for Martin. It goes to put to rest serious injuries, ending their rally season quite significantly. Understeer being the problem apparently for Wilson. A rock in the morning as well. Delivery has as a result of a competition being run by the firm Power Tools that sponsor the car. Perhaps understandably, a patriotic orange livery was chosen. He's done a fantastic job so far and just chipping away, getting himself into the points on stage 5. And then with the problem. So after the dramatic off on stage 14, Oit Tanak, which cost him 2 minutes and dropped him down a few places. The young Estonian is fighting hard to get himself back into contention, to move back up the order. Fastest, now just 5.2 away from Dennis Kuipers. So Jari-Matti Latvala is the new rally leader. Henning, Chris Meek and Matthew Wilson are our top 6. So the short 4.01 Sweet Lamb stage, a second pass through here. Water splashes aplenty and it's very spectator friendly. We're going to get a chance to ride through the entire stage with the world champion, Sebastian Loeb, the recrowned world champion, Sebastian Loeb. So let's sit back and enjoy the ride and see what stage 16 of Wales Rally GB looks like. Riding with Sebastian Loeb, Daniel Elena, 2011 World Rally Champions. May have clinched the title, but he's not backing off. A tremendous committed attack. Latvala was quicker by 0.2, so he now leads by 1.5 seconds. At the end of stage 16, just one stage remains on Saturday, Wales Rally GB. So after the short stage of 16, just 4Ks, back to one of the proper stages, 27.88 Ks of Mehrin. Second pass through here for Matthew Wilson. He'll come through on Sweet Lamb. 11th fastest time. For Chris Meek. 5th on stage 16. 7th going into stage 17, the final stage of the day. Sunday's action, it's doable. It's going to be a challenge, all down to whether Henning can keep a solid pace up and maintain will be his best result of the year. 4th.
200.
Stay there still, 4th position. Mads Osberg has done a tremendous job to make the best of a very difficult car. Really not running cleanly. Gap to enter car and from Mads Osberg. So Sebastian Loeb has pushed hard. Perhaps the second pass is through, not worked in his favour in terms of the condition of the roads. Saw him come through with the second fastest time on stage 16. Final stage of the day going to throw up for him and Latvala. 0. With interest to see what Jari-Matti Latvala can do on this final stage. He's been absolutely superb. Stages 16 and 15. Stage 13 as well, a couple of wins for Loeb. Final stage of the day by 4.6 seconds. Now leads Sebastian Loeb by 6.1 going into the final day. Osberg a safe 3rd at the moment ahead of Henning Solberg, who could be under pressure from Chris Meek.
Let's take a look at what's in store for the drivers on this final day of the 2011 World Rally Championship. 6 mixed surface stages today, totalling 84 competitive kilometres. It will all end on the power stage. Monument takes in just 4 kilometres, and the drivers will all be pushing to take the final 2011 power stage points. This is how they'll start. Jari-Matti Latvala goes first, 6.1 seconds ahead of Sebastian Loeb. A great weekend for Mads Østberg. He goes third, with Henning Solberg and Chris Meek fourth and fifth. Just 45 seconds separates those two. Matt Wilson goes sixth on home soil ahead of Dennis Kuipers, and what a start for our featured driver Oyt Tanak in eighth. He's followed by Evgeny Novikov, the recovering Sebastian Ogier, and Danny Sordo, with Ken Block rounding out the top 12. So here we go then, the start of the final day of this 2011 World Rally Championship. The Welsh wet weather is holding off so far for the fans and for this man, Jari-Matti Latvala, still chasing his first victory of the year. This final loop is undoubtedly one of the toughest tests on the calendar for the drivers, a mixture of both tarmac and gravel today. And with the car set up for the gravel, the conditions on the asphalt are incredibly treacherous. Jari-Matti flying over the jumps. It's been a year and a half since his last WRC victory, and he wants to change all that today. But this is the man trying to stop him. Sebastian Loeb, the 2011 World Rally Champion, would dearly love to do the double and take the win here in the Welsh Valleys. And Seb is equally as committed over those jumps this morning. Here comes another man battling to protect his position. Henning Solberg on for fourth place and his best result of the year. But it will mean he'll have to keep the mini of Chris Meek behind. Here he comes, and Chris desperately trying to finish his year on a high, gradually closing the gap on Solberg this morning. And our featured driver Oyt Tanak is also on it. Already he's passed Dennis Kuipers to move up to seventh. The next man in his sights is Russia's Evgeny Novikov. But there's drama on the road section. Sebastian Loeb has stopped, and that DS3 appeared to have front end damage.
Sebastian, this is a terrible way to end the rally. What happened?
It happened that on the old section it came a car in front, and I went on the side, but we are in England and he's not English, so he went on the wrong side and we crashed. So it was not a big impact, but in the front radiator is very open, so now the water is coming out and it's finished.
Okay, so that's a rally over for you, definitely?
Yeah.
Okay.
We are world champion.
We are world champions, so no big problem.
No problem.
Okay, thanks, Seb.
Thankfully, all involved in that accident are okay as we head back to the action out on the Epint military ranges. Well, Latvala is into the stage, and he will know now that Loeb is out. Provided he has no problems, he can cruise that Fiesta to victory. Loeb's demise also means that Mads Østberg is up to second place. What a result this would be for the Norwegian. He began the year with a second place in Sweden, and as things stand, he will be ending with one.
Som öppnar, håll in över krön 120.
And Chris Meek's battle for fourth place with Henning Solberg is now a fight for the final podium spot. Chris coming to the end of the stage now. Keep an eye on the clock on the bottom right of your screen. What a battle we have on our hands. Chris has half the gap from this morning. So, after the first two stages of the day, we've lost Loeb, and Latvala now has a commanding lead at the front from Østberg in second. Here's the battle though. Chris Meek is closing that gap fast on Henning Solberg. On to the 4.36 kilometres that make up the Monument stage, and this will be run as the power stage this afternoon. Jari-Matti Latvala will be making sure his notes are pinpoint perfect to try and take the win and the power stage victory as well. What a finish to the year that would be for the Finn. Here's the man in the main battle though, Henning Solberg, desperately trying to keep Chris Meek at bay for third place. And he certainly is trying, absolutely flying over that jump. Here comes Meek, and he too is on the limit and needs to be if he's to catch Henning. Remember, both drivers fighting for their best finish of the year and their first podium of the 2011 season. Our featured driver, Oyt Tanak, having a storming WRC debut up to an incredible 6th place. What a future this young man has ahead of him. After a further 2 stages, just take a look at the gap between Henning Solberg and Chris Meek, now down to a minute 1.5 seconds with just the power stage remaining.
We've seen Danny Sordo score points in the power stages before this season, although that was on tarmac. But with nothing to lose in his super rallying position, Mini's Spanish sensation is on the attack in Monument. Big jump there, and he is fastest through of the early runners. Sébastien Ogier has become the forgotten man this weekend after his first stage crash. But let's not forget, this is a man who's won 5 rallies and 3 power stages this season. The Citroën Star charges through Monument and beats Sordo by 2.7 seconds. After a quick but error-filled season, Evgeny Novikov is on course to claim his 2nd consecutive points finish, but a very wild moment there. He almost threw it all away, the Russian, within inches of flipping the car off the road. A very lucky escape indeed. He won't trouble the power stage top times now, but he should at least hold on to his 7th place. And what a weekend it's been for young Oyt Tanak, just 24 years old, after only 16 World Rally events and on his first outing in a WRC car. This talented young Estonian is on course to claim a 6th place finish. Our feature driver is clearly a star in the making. Let's hope he's back in a WRC car sooner rather than later. No power stage points for Tanak, but it's a terrific result nevertheless. Next in, Chris Meek.
Meek in 4th, 1.8 seconds ahead of him is Henning Solberg in 3rd. If he wins the power stage, he could take the 3rd place as well. There's pressure on for both of these guys now, and Meek has been hunting Henning down. It's easier to be the hunter than the hunted.
Yeah, and let's not forget, he spun! Really dug in. Well, that's ruined his chances at 3rd place. Just hit a rut, bounced out. Well, that's really frustrating for Chris. But that's a real shame. Is that going to end his hopes of a power stage point? I'm sure it will, but
it just doesn't. I mean, since then, I don't know whether he's. I mean, he's still going quickly, but it just doesn't seem to be 100% committed.
I thought I caught Paul Nagel saying don't push, but I might have imagined that.
Well, he had to make up 1.8 seconds. It's only 4.3 Ks, and you know what I mean. You've dropped 5 or 6 in the half spin. You had to reverse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he doesn't want to risk throwing away 4th place, which alone would be a terrific result for Chris on his home event. Remember, he's hadn't actually scored a WRC point before Spain. So it's been a terrific end to the season for Chris after what had been a frustrating first few rallies in the Mini John Cooper Works. Disappointing end for Chris.
It was great drive today. It's powering his way back up.
Yeah, look, he's well off the pace. A good 10 seconds slower than Ogier. That's really frustrating.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was a punch of the steering wheel. Yes! Yeah. Did I know that was coming?
Oh, he
gave it everything.
He wanted it so much. Yeah, it's a real shame. He was desperate to achieve that podium finish on home soil. So 3rd place looks a lot safer for Henning Solberg and co-driver Ilkka Minor. Don, let's have a look at him over the jump. Here it comes.
It's been a tough couple of years for them, to be fair, hasn't it?
Nice and tidy, yeah. He's going to be
retiring in Australia, not retiring, but stopping in Australia went 4th. So you get these events once or twice a year where good privateers can get on the podium, and they've got to take these opportunities. Not far now, let's see what they can do. Meek was a 53-1. Meek was a 53-1.
53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1. 53-1.
So as long as he's not safe.
He's safe. He's safe.
That's third place overall. I don't think he'd be bothered about the power stage. Third place overall.
Big fist pump for Ilka. She liked that. Great finish for Henning and Ilka Minor.
What time is the live?
She's asking to see what time they got in the power stage as well. They want more. Could they get more points on top of the podium finish? Look at. We actually have 2 Norwegians on the podium places at the moment. Next in, Mads Osberg. M Sport Stovart's Fiesta RS sounding terrific as he blasts his way through the final kilometre or so. Getting close to this big jump. Concentration on Mads' face as Jonas rattles off the notes. Let's watch him over the crest. Nice and tidy again.
Mads is here it is. 2 more corners and another second place finish. It's another great result for Mads, and he's been strong this year, he really has.
Yeah, 2:44-ish, he's not going to get big high five between Mads and Jonas there.
2 Norwegians on the podium as well.
Yeah.
And you look at the joy. I mean, we saw it with Henning and Ilka, and then Mads and Jonas. It means so much to these people.
He loves it. Second place in Sweden at the start of the year, second place in Wales at the end of the year. At the moment, it's all about this man. Jari-Matti Latvala comes into the final stage with a dominant lead of more than 3.5 minutes. He's been one of the stars of the show through the latter half of the season. He did his best to help Mikko Hirvonen to that first Drivers' Championship since 1981 for Ford, but they couldn't quite do that. Heartbreaking for Mikko a couple of days ago, but they do have the consolation here for a first win, if he can hold it together for Jari-Matti Latvala of this year, and my God, does he deserve a win this season.
Well, Latvala's just been probably the man of the moment for the last 4 or 5 rallies. Absolutely brilliant. Loeb actually saying yesterday, I found a new rival. And he really does fear this guy, he really does. And Jari-Matti saying to me yesterday that maybe now Sebastian's won 8 titles, he's not quite so hungry, but I am, and this guy wants to win everything.
Of course he does, and I tell you what, well, it might be an 8th world title for Loeb, but we've seen more than enough in 2011 to know that,
I was thinking the same.
Again. We've seen more than enough in 2011 to know that next year could be something special. Jari-Matti Latvala has been blisteringly quick. Ogier's won several rallies, Mikko is consistent as ever. The pace of the Mini John Cooper works. Next year really could be something special.
Well, obviously we've got lots of announcements. We were touching earlier about announcements and deals. We're waiting to hear what Ford are going to do, but I tell you what, with Jari-Matti Latvala on your books, for sure, you've got to come back, because this guy can and will win rallies and world championships.
Yeah. He's got 4 wins to date, a couple more corners, and it will become 5 career wins.
10 times in GB, first time here 2002.
Yeah, it takes a special driver to win Rally GB. The likes of Henry Toivonen and Jari's hero. All those years ago, he won, I think, his first rally here, or one of his first rallies in Great Britain. And Jari is clear. That is the 5th career win for Jari-Matti Latvala, his first ever win in Wales Rally GB. He will be delighted with that. He's also got the final power stage point for finishing 3rd on this stage. And this victory is no less than the Finn deserves after a terrific finish to the 2011 season. And just look how much it means to him. Finally, the first victory of the year, and Jari-Matti's 5th of his career. Congratulations to Mika Anttila. And something to take away from a disappointing weekend for the Ford team, at least. Well, let's get confirmation of the power stage results. Sebastian Ogier becomes the most successful man in these bonus stages with 4 wins. Danny Sordo again getting points for Mini in the power stage, and Jari-Matti Latvala gets an extra point to add to his victory.
So Jari-Matti Latvala finally hits the top of the leaderboard in 2011. A great weekend too for Mads Osberg in 2nd, with Henning Solberg hanging on for 3rd. Our featured driver Oyt Tanak has impressed on his WRC debut. Here are the final standings in the 2011 Drivers' Championship, and confirmation of Loeb's 8th title, with neither of the top 2 scoring. Hirvonen stays 8 points behind. Sebastian Ogier finishes 3rd in the championship, despite Latvala's win here in Wales. Citroën already secured the manufacturer's title in Spain. Ford outscored them here in GB though. The final margin between the two teams, 27 points. Citroën once again do the double, with Sebastian Loeb taking the Drivers' Championship.